Welcome to an in-depth exploration of one of America's most iconic frontiersmen, Daniel Boone, the founder of Kentucky. This presentation delves into the life and legacy of a man whose exploits during the 18th century significantly influenced the westward expansion of the United States. Daniel Boone remains a seminal figure in American history, emblematic of the pioneering spirit that propelled the young nation westward. Born in 1734, his life spanned a period of intense change, encompassing the French and Indian War, the American Revolution, and the early years of the Republic. While General George Washington and the Continental Army engaged British forces along the eastern seaboard, Boone and his fellow frontiersmen operated as the rear guard of the Revolution, securing the Trans-Appalachian West for future American settlement. Daniel Boone was born on November 2, 1734, in a log cabin in Ole Valley, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. His parents, Squire and Sarah Boone, were English Quakers who had emigrated from Bradninch, Devon. From an early age, Boone exhibited a profound affinity for the wilderness. At the age of 12, he received his first rifle, a gift that would define his relationship with the American frontier. A notable anecdote from his youth illustrates his self-sufficiency. Boone once disappeared into the forest for several days, during which he constructed a makeshift cabin of sod and boughs. When his family finally located him, he was entirely self-reliant, evidencing skills that would later become essential in his frontier exploits. In 1750, seeking less crowded environs, the Boone family relocated approximately 500 miles southwest to the Yadkin River Valley in North Carolina. The region was characterized by its vast tracts of unbroken wilderness, offering ample opportunities for hunting and exploration. Daniel, then 16, honed his skills as a woodsman, tracking game across the Blue Ridge Mountains and developing an encyclopedic knowledge of the terrain. Boone's interactions with local Native American tribes, including the Cherokee, furthered his understanding of survival techniques and deepened his respect for the natural world, a respect that would stay with him throughout his life. At age 25, during a nocturnal hunting expedition utilizing torchlight, a method known as fire hunting, Boone encountered Rebecca Bryan. Mistaking her eyes reflecting in the darkness for those of a deer, he approached cautiously, only to discover the beautiful neighbor who captured his heart. Daniel Boone and Rebecca Bryan were married on August 14, 1756. Together, they would have 10 children over the course of their marriage, underscoring the importance of family even amidst the perils of frontier life. As settlements expanded, the Yadkin Valley became increasingly populated, encroaching upon the solitude Boone cherished. The French and Indian War, 1754-1763, further complicated life in the region, with increasing hostilities disrupting daily activities. Boone served as a wagoner in General Edward Braddock's ill-fated expedition in 1755, witnessing firsthand the complexities of colonial warfare. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a desire for unspoiled wilderness, Boone turned his gaze westward beyond the Allegheny Mountains. In the mid-1760s, he embarked on expeditions into the uncharted territories of present-day Tennessee, venturing into areas scarcely touched by European settlers. In May 1769, Boone, along with a small group of hunters, including John Finley, a trader familiar with the area, set out on an expedition to Kentucky. This region was renowned among native tribes as Kentucky, meaning land of tomorrow or meadowland. The expedition marked Boone's first significant foray into Kentucky, initiating an enduring connection with the land. While exploring the region, Boone documented the vast herds of American bison, an estimated population exceeding 30 million across North America at the time. During one notable incident, Boone narrowly escaped being trampled by a stampeding herd, highlighting both the abundance of wildlife and the inherent dangers of the wilderness. Boone and Stewart's journey took a perilous turn when they were captured by a Shawnee hunting party. The Shawnee, defending their hunting grounds against encroachment, confiscated the men's pelts and warned them never to return under penalty of death. Demonstrating remarkable composure, Boone feigned compliance, only to orchestrate a daring escape under the cover of night. Tragically, Stewart was killed shortly thereafter, and other members of the party vanished under mysterious circumstances, likely victims of Native American hostilities or the treacherous environment. Boone was left isolated in the Kentucky wilderness from December 22, 1769 to March 1, 1770, subsisting alone for 3 months, a testament to his extraordinary survival skills. Undeterred by previous hardships, Boone endeavored to establish a permanent settlement in Kentucky. In September 1773, he led a group of approximately 50 settlers, including his own family, through the Cumberland Gap, a natural pass through the Appalachian Mountains discovered by Thomas Walker in 1750. On October 9, 1773, the group was ambushed by a party of Delaware, Shawnee, and Cherokee warriors near Wallen's Ridge. The attack resulted in the death of 6 settlers, including Boone's 16-year-old son, James. This tragedy prompted the group to retreat to the safer environs of Clinch River. The incident underscored the volatility of the frontier during a period of escalating tensions known as Dunmore's War. In 1775, under the auspices of the Transylvania Company, led by Judge Richard Henderson, Boone was commissioned to blaze the Wilderness Road through the Cumberland Gap into central Kentucky. On April 1, 1775, he began constructing Fort Boonesborough along the Kentucky River. By September 1775, Boone brought his family to the fort, introducing the first Anglo-American women, his wife Rebecca and daughter Jemima, to Kentucky. The establishment of Boonesborough was a strategic move to solidify claims to the territory, directly challenging British colonial policies such as the Proclamation Line of 1763, which restricted westward expansion. The Revolutionary War intensified conflicts on the frontier as British forces allied with Native American tribes to oppose American expansion. Boonesborough became a focal point of these hostilities. Boone's leadership was critical in the fort's defense, utilizing guerrilla tactics and an intimate knowledge of the terrain. In July 1776, Boone's daughter Jemima and 2 other girls were abducted by a Shawnee Cherokee raiding party. Boone led a rescue mission, tracking the captors over 3 days and successfully recovering the girls approximately 40 miles north of the fort. This event inspired elements of James Fenimore Cooper's 1826 novel, The Last of the Mohicans. In January 1778, while overseeing salt production at the lower Blue Licks, Boone and 27 of his men were captured by a large Shawnee war party led by Chief Blackfish. Recognizing the futility of resistance, Boone surrendered to prevent a massacre. Boone was taken to Chillicothe on the Little Miami River, where he was ceremonially adopted into the Shawnee tribe, receiving the name Sheltowee, or Big Turtle. This practice was a means of replacing lost warriors and assimilating captives. Boone's time with the Shawnee provided him with invaluable insights into their culture and military strategies. Upon discovering British plans to incite a massive attack on Boonesborough, Boone escaped captivity on June 16, 1778, after 4 months among the Shawnee. He traversed approximately 160 miles over 5 days, subsisting on minimal provisions to warn the fort's inhabitants. In September 1778, a force of around 450 Shawnee warriors, supported by British agents, laid siege to Boonesborough for 10 days. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the fort's 40-odd defenders, under Boone's command, repelled the assault through strategic fortifications and resourceful tactics. The Battle of Blue Licks, fought on August 10, 1782, was one of the last significant engagements of the Revolutionary War, occurring months after the British surrender at Yorktown. Boone, leading a contingent of militiamen, pursued a Native American force that had attacked settlers. Disregarding Boone's advice to proceed with caution, the militia rushed into a ravine, where they were ambushed by warriors led by Loyalist Ranger Simon Girty. The militia suffered heavy casualties, with over 70 killed, including Boone's son Israel. The defeat underscored the persistent dangers on the frontier, even as the war drew to a close. Following the war, Boone faced substantial legal challenges regarding his land holdings. Due to a combination of clerical errors, overlapping claims, and Boone's own informal procedures, he lost the majority of his property. The Land Act of 1796 and subsequent legislation failed to remedy his losses. In 1799, at the age of 65, Boone left Kentucky, leading his extended family to Spanish-controlled Missouri. The Spanish authorities, recognizing his value as a trailblazer, granted him 850 acres in the Femme Osage district. Despite the transfer of the territory to the United States through the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, Boone continued to live in Missouri, hunting and trapping well into his late years. Daniel Boone passed away on September 26, 1820, at the age of 85. Initially buried next to Rebecca in Missouri, their remains were reportedly reinterred in Frankfort, Kentucky in 1845. However, some historians debate whether the correct remains were moved. Boone's legacy is preserved through numerous places bearing his name, including Boone County in Kentucky and Missouri, the Daniel Boone National Forest, and the town of Boonesboro. His life became a blend of fact and folklore, popularized in 19th century biographies and 20th century media. Boone's contributions extend beyond his tangible accomplishments. He embodied the archetype of the American frontiersman, resilient, resourceful, and relentlessly pursuing the promise of the West. His explorations facilitated the migration of an estimated 200,000 settlers into Kentucky by the end of the 18th century. Daniel Boone's life reflects the complexities of American expansion, marked by courage and discovery, yet intertwined with conflict and displacement. His ability to navigate and survive the challenges of the frontier made indelible marks on the nation's history. As we reflect on the narrative of Daniel Boone, we gain insight into the formative processes that shaped the United States. His story is not merely one of individual adventure, but a chapter in the broader tale of American identity and the ceaseless quest for new horizons.